Born in 1774 in Amsterdam, Nepping entered the world as the sole offspring of master painter Johannes Nepping and Cornelia Schramm. At 19 years old, she entered matrimonial bonds with Jan Brummelkamp, a tobacco merchant hailing from the same city. Driven by financial troubles, the couple departed Amsterdam in 1800, finding themselves in Loenen, nowadays Hilversum, where Brummelkamp recommenced his tobacco trade. Yet, facing another setback, they resettled in the village of Hull in 1805, both seeking employment at a paper mill. In the year 1808, Nepping came into possession of a substantial inheritance, which encompassed not only a dwelling in Wijbeegstersteed but also a sum of 5,000 guilders in ready funds. This windfall prompted the couple's relocation to that locale, where Jan endeavored to establish a paper dyeing enterprise, only to meet another round of misfortune. Meanwhile, Hester found herself entangled in an extramarital liaison with Gerrit Verkerk, the city messenger. As the inheritance gradually dwindled, the couple found themselves compelled to accommodate lodgers, specifically the elderly Berenberg Vinjol pair and their sister-in-law. To secure their stay, the couple remitted a payment of 3,000 guilders, with a supplementary sum to be disbursed in the event of their demise. Mrs. Berenberg revealed herself to possess a disagreeable disposition, prompting Nepping to conspire with her maid, Adriana van Rijswijk, in a plot to end the woman's life. Tragically, Berenberg passed away on August 31, 1811. Subsequently, on November 9, Hester's aged father, who resided with her, also succumbed, followed just 2 days later by her spouse, January. These deaths raised suspicions, leading to the exhumation of the bodies. Autopsy findings pointed to arsenic poisoning as the cause. Nepping, van Rijswijk, and Verkerk, who had supplied the arsenic, were apprehended. In January 1812, they were detained in Amsterdam, where their trial was slated to unfold. Each of the three made partial admissions of guilt, prompting the assizes to establish the proven occurrence of 2 murders, resulting in death sentences for all 3 defendants. The application of French criminal law due to the Netherlands' incorporation into the First French Empire from 1810 necessitated an appeal to the Court of Cassation in Paris. Upon review, the court upheld the initial verdict. On June 15, 1812, a public guillotine execution took place before the Newmarkt in Amsterdam, marking the sole instance in the city's history where such a death sentence was carried out in this manner. While the guillotine had been employed in Maastricht as early as 1798, it's worth noting that Maastricht was then an integral part of France, distinguishing this execution as a significant moment in Dutch history. Born in 1672 in the vibrant city of Bristol, Elizabeth Parry was the youngest daughter in her family. Her father, a skilled ship's surgeon, had amassed a considerable fortune as a shipmaster. In due course, Elizabeth tied the knot with Benjamin Branch, a prosperous landholding farmer. To support the young couple, Elizabeth's loving father bestowed upon them a generous dowry of £2,000, a substantial sum. This financial boost complemented Benjamin's already substantial income of £300 per year, amounting to £48,256 in today's currency, ensuring a promising start to their life together. Elizabeth swiftly earned a notorious reputation for her violent tendencies. Together with her daughter, Betty Branch, they engaged in cruel acts of torturing small animals, seemingly drawing inspiration from the tales of Nero. Additionally, they subjected their unfortunate servants to relentless beatings and humiliation, particularly after the passing of Benjamin in 1730. These abhorrent actions were so severe that it drove away any local individuals who might have considered serving them, leaving the mother and daughter isolated in their deeds. On the 13th of February, 1740, with James as a witness, Elizabeth dispatched her 13-year-old serving maid, Jane Buttersworth, on an errand to a nearby farm. Upon Jane's return, Elizabeth and Betty became infuriated by the perceived delay and subjected the young girl to a brutal beating that persisted for nearly 7 agonizing hours, tragically resulting in her untimely death. In an attempt to conceal their heinous act, they buried Jane in secret, falsely claiming her passing as natural. However, suspicions arose within the local community, prompting concerned individuals to exhume Jane's body. It was then taken to a nearby surgeon for examination, who discovered wounds so severe that they would have been fatal even to the strongest of men. The damning evidence left no doubt about the grim reality of the situation. As a consequence, Elizabeth and Betty faced trial for murder on the 31st of March during the Somerset Assizes. The jury swiftly reached a guilty verdict without the need for prolonged deliberation. Consequently, on the 3rd of May, and in an effort to prevent any potential disturbances from an angry mob, both women were executed by hanging, taking place before the break of dawn at 6 in the morning. Their swift and solemn demise marked the end of a horrifying chapter, leaving behind a dark tale of violence and cruelty. Daria Nikolaevna Saltykova came into existence within the opulent embrace of an age-old Russian aristocratic lineage. Her lineage traced back to her father, Nikolai Avtonomovich Ivanov, and her mother, Anna Ivanovna Davidova. In due course, Daria Nikolaevna Saltykova united her fate with Gleb Alexeyevich Saltykov, a distinguished nobleman and a paternal uncle to Nikolai Saltykov, a renowned figure within the esteemed Saltykov dynasty. Daria and Gleb's union brought forth two sons, Theodore and Nicholas. Tragedy struck Daria Saltykova in 1755 when she became a widow at a mere 25 years of age, left to navigate life's course with her young sons. This sorrow was accompanied by an inheritance of substantial proportions, her late husband's expansive estate. Within these grand grounds, she nurtured her two sons and presided over a considerable population of serfs. Initial reports regarding the fatalities transpiring at the Saltykova estate were met with disregard by authorities, often resulting in retribution against those who dared to raise concerns. Saltykova's influential ties within the echelons of power at the Russian royal court and among the nobility contributed to this lack of action. Over time, the relatives of the deceased women managed to present a petition before Empress Catherine II, leading to a pivotal shift. The Empress, aiming to bolster her lawfulness campaign, opted to subject Saltykova to a public trial. In 1762, Saltykova was apprehended and placed under arrest. For a span of 6 years, from 1762 to 1768, Saltykova remained in custody as authorities undertook a methodical inquiry. Catherine's Collegium of Justice diligently summoned numerous witnesses and meticulously sifted through records pertaining to the Saltykova estate. The exhaustive examination revealed a staggering count of 138 suspicious deaths, with the majority being attributed to Saltykova. Ultimately, Saltykova was pronounced guilty of the brutal murder of 38 female serfs, subjected to fatal beatings and torment. However, Empress Catherine faced a conundrum in determining the appropriate punishment, as the death penalty had been abolished in Russia since 1754. This predicament was compounded by the Empress's need to secure the backing of the nobility, adding a layer of complexity to the decision-making process. In the year 1768, Saltykova found herself bound in chains upon a prominent public platform within Moscow. Pendant from her neck, a sign bore the damning inscription, "This woman has inflicted torture and death." Curious onlookers gathered to witness this spectacle, subjecting her to a derisive mockery that intensified her humiliation. Following this exposé, Saltykova was relegated to a lifetime of incarceration in the depths of the Ivanovsky convent cellar in Moscow. Saltykova's existence persisted until December 9, 1801, when her mortal coil breathed its last. Subsequently, she was laid to rest in close proximity to her kin within the sepulchral confines of the Donskoy Monastery necropolis.